there's been so much talk about NATO, and you hear a lot of doomsdayers saying, "Oh, Trump wants to pull us out of NATO, and when he gets in, the alliance is going to be destroyed." And I think that may be a little dramatic, but I'd like to hear your thoughts. What do you think the role of NATO should be? A lot of countries are paying more, and I think they should, but I think it's such a key alliance, and no one's messed with us. And considering how aggressive Putin's been, what should the tack be on NATO? What should our strategy be?
Yeah, I think it's an important alliance, and I agree that these member states should pay what's in the charter, their commitment of 2% of GDP. And yes, there has been some positive movement, but I believe the majority of them are still not there. So I think that was the hypocrisy that Trump was showing, was that, okay, if you actually say you care about NATO, but you don't put your money where your mouth is, then this is kind of meaningless. And in fact, the Secretary General of NATO, when Trump was president, he thanked Donald Trump. He said, "Thank you for putting pressure. Thank you." I mean, for him, he likes it because it's increasing his budget, his influence, and the ability of the alliance to actually do what it's meant to do. So I think in some ways it's almost like, if you have a wedding vow, but you're not doing any of the things that the vow is supposed to entail, then why not just get divorced? I think that's the approach. That it's almost like a leverage or a negotiating tactic. I don't think Trump wants to destroy NATO. I really don't. I think it's a lot of. I've actually been telling people with Trump, if you want to understand how Trump talks, watch WWE wrestling, and I think that's part of why he gets under the skin of a lot of people.
This is the whole seriously but not literally,
yes.
Or literally but not seriously argument. I mean,
because when you look at how they talk.
They talk
with such bravado. They're like saying, "I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your mother." Blah blah blah.
But okay. But I mean, and
I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm just saying if you want to understand and not get so upset, realize that a lot of what he's doing is he's an entertainer.
I understand that, but that's partially rationalizing. So then you do not agree with his position that. In the words of him, he made up this conversation. No foreign leader would ever refer to each other as sir, but that conversation he had where someone said, "Oh, if I didn't pay up, would you protect me?" And he said, "No, in fact, I'd tell Russia to have their way." So not only tossing Article 5 out the window, but saying, "Have at it." What's your response to that? Because it doesn't exactly help the confidence of our allies.
I think he was trying to underscore the importance of you can't make Carrie. America be your schmuck anymore. Like
Jesus.
That's like
that's not.
I'm not saying I agree. I don't think he actually.
You do not agree with that, right? You think that Section 5 should be preserved.
I mean,
so if one NATO ally is attacked, it's an attack on all of us.
I think America should keep its commitments. Which would include Article 5, yes, but okay. I also think those countries should fulfill their commitments. And that's the hypocrisy. They expect us to fulfill our commitment. That is, and I'm telling you, Dave, that's an abusive relationship.
It's an exaggeration, Carrie. These countries already spend well over $300 billion. Okay. So that's like a third. That's more than a third. That's about 40% of our defense budget. And it's more than any other country several times over. Okay, I mean, that's more than China spends. It's about 3 times what Russia spends. So it's not like these countries aren't spending. They are the second largest military spender in the world after the United States. So there's a bit of an exaggeration there. But I do think it is important that countries pay more. And I think many of them are, Germany in particular. So, I'm hoping that you'll be right. But I have to say, I get a little tired of people trying to rationalize Trump in terms of, he says this, but he doesn't really mean it. And he's talking about building these detention camps, but he doesn't really mean it. And he's talking about suspending the Constitution, but he doesn't really mean it. And he's talking about being dictator for a day, but he doesn't really mean it. So I think he's laying out pretty clearly exactly what he's going to do. And anyone who thinks that Trump 1 is going to be similar to Trump 2 to put it mildly, is in a different reality.